welcome to our very first podcast. My name is Xiaoqin.
And my name is Simran Gopal.
And as of 2020, we are fourth year medical students, which is an exciting time, I have to say.
Very exciting.
So we've decided to start a podcast, and it's basically around a hope that we can deliver a resource to every medical student, especially Monash medical students. And it's just going to be a peer teaching resource, and it's probably going to be very much based on the Vespers that you're probably going to as well. And the idea came into fruition right about last year, because we discovered that access can be a little bit of a problem sometimes. I know medical students are busy people. There are a lot of people trying to either support a family or even sometimes support themselves by working, and that can sometimes clash with a lot of the Vespa case nights or Vespa group teaching times. And we thought that by creating a podcast, people will have a little bit more flexibility in listening. What do you think?
I think I completely agreed. Yeah. I mean, we noticed this last year as well when we were going to Vespas, that there were times where you weren't able to go or I wasn't able to go, and we had other commitments. And there were a few of my friends as well who weren't actually able to go to to the Vespas because it was too far for them, or it just clashed with their timings. So I think really having something that's more online is more convenient, hopefully, and people can just use it whenever like go to it whenever they want to at their own time.
Yeah, and obviously this isn't really to replace any Vespa that people are currently going to at the moment. I think they're really important. Yeah, it's really good to have that face-to-face contact and get to know the older peer. But yeah, we hope that our podcast can be a supplement. Yes, that cherry on top.
Yep, I absolutely agree, Xiao. And I think one of the ways that we were talking about how we're going to do this is kind of thinking about doing weekly podcasts where we can talk about history with any complaint, any sort of confusing conditions, investigations, management, and kind of taking the perspective of an OSCE. I think one thing that we noticed last year was it was nice to kind of have all like this, like the information about these conditions, but actually regurgitating it and presenting it in terms of an OSCE was very difficult.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, and also I find in OSCEs you don't really get it written on the stem, or this guy's coming in with a heart attack. It's definitely like this person's coming in with shortness of breath, or chest pain, and I think that's a really nice way to put it. You know, just going through what do I need to think of, the top most important conditions, the ones that kind of get missed. I think that's really important.
And I think we spend a lot of our time like just going through, history with any complaints. Like someone presents with jaundice, what are your differentials, what are your screening questions, your risk factors, and how do you kind of go down and hone in on one sort of definite diagnosis. So I think that one of our podcasts, or actually a lot of our podcasts, would be focusing on that kind of aspect. And I was thinking we could even do sort of like role plays. What do you think about that, Shell?
So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Where one of us can be a patient, one of us can be the student doctor, and kind of walk through how we would go through a history, and maybe people who are listening in on our podcast can kind of get something out of it.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea, and we obviously don't want to just stick to just OSCE style podcasts, as good as it sounds, but hopefully we can sort of build it. One day maybe perhaps we can start with some preclinical work and some podcasts on preclinical topics, because I know that can be really daunting, especially when you're in first and second year. And then maybe perhaps, we're focusing on third year subjects at this moment in time, but hopefully next year, if this thing really does kick off, we can also do fourth year topics. And then we could even look at other topics that are important to health, but perhaps may not be so recognized at this current contemporary time. For example, things like nutrition. I know we've been talking about it quite a bit last year. You always hear cardiologists say you need to go down on your fats and carbohydrates, but that can be quite difficult for a layman to understand. So perhaps even going through OSCEs or perhaps styles on how to discuss that issue with patients, and talking about exercise. I think that's really important as well. And then I would really like to do something on the medical student care You know, I think we do go through quite a bit. We do learn a massive amount in 1 year. I think we've changed quite a lot in the couple of years that we've been studying medicine.
Absolutely.
And just talking about, you know, how we can still cope with the stress of the content, the amount of content that we have to go through, maybe some time management tips, and you know, just going through. I know we're all type A personalities here, but sometimes that can really dig us in a grave sometimes.
It really
can. And you know, sort of creating a TLDR type podcast, perhaps in the future. That would be quite nice. And of course, you know, now we get to the difficult part, talking about disclaimers.
Yes, so just keep in mind, guys, we are medical students. We're trying our best to give up-to-date information, relevant information, and as we kind of make more podcasts, we'll constantly update them as we go as well. But I mean, come on, we're a growing family, so any sort of feedback that you want to give us, any constructive feedback, if you want to help out, then we're always willing to receive that. And yeah, you can even get involved if you want as well. So, Shao, how do you think that they can get involved?
Hey guys, it's Shao from the future here. Just to let you know, we recorded this episode at the start of the year, and since then the world has changed and we have too. So I'm here to give you the updated version of how you can be involved in our podcast. So firstly, listening is the best thing you could do to support us. We'll be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as Google Podcasts. Just to let you know, all podcasts will be archived on YouTube, and that's just to make things a lot more organized and neater. So we'll try to put all the liver stuff that we create in a liver playlist, all the GIT stuff in a GIT playlist, so on and so forth. Secondly, please give us a like on our Facebook page. We're really easy to find. We're just called MiniMedPods. Thirdly, we'd love to hear from you guys. And the best way to hear from you and to contact us is via our email. So our email is minimedpods@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'd also like to hear if you spotted any mistakes, because we're more than happy to make any changes. Or if you think there's a new series that we're really missing out on and we should really tap in, we would love to hear about that too. If you have any ideas as to where you want us to go in terms of direction, because in the end, we want to make this for you guys, of course, our listeners. And if you want to help us out and get behind the scenes and creative with Simran, James, and myself, please also chuck us an email. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye!